What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Healthspan Academy. I'm your host, Craig Shearhart, and joining me today is CrossFit legend Paul Tremblay. Paul started his academic career with a degree from University of Ottawa in management and finance, and then spent a little time working in that field, and then pretty much shifted gears into full-time fitness. He opened up his gym, CrossFit NCR in Ottawa in 2013, and soon became a CrossFit Seminar Staff, eventually became regional lead for Eastern US gym operations. Recently, he's taken the lead as country manager to Canadian CrossFit affiliates. Back when regionals was a thing, he did that from 2012 to 2018. He's a two-time CrossFit Games competitor. He competed for Team Canada as a member as a CrossFit Invitational in 2014. And athletically, he's one of those freaks of nature. Just some quick numbers on his fitness. He's got a 525 back squat, a 545 deadlift, a 375 clean and jerk, 315 snatch, 76 pull-ups unbroken, and a 150 Fran time. And if you've ever done that workout, you know that's a pretty blistering pace. And just
you didn't put my 5K run on there? Why
not? Yeah, totally overlooked that one, man. Paul, so good to see you again, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Craig. Pleasure.
Cheers. Well, I want to start just looking through those numbers. Like, I feel like 10, 20 years ago, like that was unheard of to have someone like that kind of strength, speed, power, and then also have cardio to go with it. So what was your athletic background growing up?
Growing up, it was just sports. Obviously, like a lot of Canadian boys played a lot of hockey. Nice. And it was just always into sports and loved that stuff. And pretty early, I started enjoying working out. Cool. It was just probably in high school. I have an older brother, and
yeah,
he was pumping some iron when he was 16 and 17, and I was already pretty young and just looked up to him. So nice. I always just enjoyed working out, and cool. When I was done playing hockey, that's when I just kind of got into CrossFit, and somehow I had some strengths of mine that translated really well to the sport of CrossFit. That's
amazing. So at what point did you realize that this was something you could maybe compete at?
Honestly, right when I started, and
yeah.
I kind of started CrossFit, and I found CrossFit because, I kind of fell in love with it because of the competition aspect. But
yeah,
when I started CrossFit, it was mostly, so we were working out with some buddies where I used to work. We used to do like some boot camp classes, and that's when I made the shift from just benching all the time to, sweating a little bit and doing
nice.
some abs and,
yeah.
And then one of my buddies was just, he came up to me one day and he's just like, "Hey, let's take our workouts to the next level. Have you heard of this CrossFit thing?" And
cool.
One thing led to another. And then, we went to a CrossFit gym, and right away I just, fell in love with the competition aspect of like being in a class with other people, having direction from a coach, and just got into it that way.
That's unreal. So, and you were one of the quick, I feel like you sort of started competing right when it just was on the cusp of starting to blow up. Like affiliate numbers just started to blow up around, early 2010, 2013, around that time. When you think back to the CrossFit Games, obviously it's changed a lot, but when you hear CrossFit Games or you watch some of those documentary issues, what are the highlights or images that come up when you think about your own experience there?
Oh man, a lot of them. I my first year competing was in 2012.
Yeah.
So it was the second year of the Open.
Right.
So the Open started in 2011. 2012 did the Open, and we got lucky. We put a team together, won regionals, went to the games, and some of the really notable or memorable moments is one of them was, and this was with Dave Castro. Actually, first time I ever saw Dave Castro.
Oh, cool.
Was we were finishing up Big Bob. Do you remember Big Bob?
No.
Or Big Bob's like the 6-man prowler push. Like they still have it almost every year.
Okay.
So 2012, they brought the Big Bob, and we were the last ones in the heat finishing up the workout. And I remember the guy on the PA saying, "Let's give it up for our international athletes." And I'm like, okay, we're that crowd. We're the international athletes.
That's amazing.
What was really cool, and one of the moments that I kind of remembered, especially obviously after recent events, is Dave was right at the finish line.
Yeah.
Right when we finished.
Yeah.
We got time capped, and he was there, and he gave us all a big high five.
That's amazing.
So, and I'm like, Dave Castro, like, what the hell is he doing there? You know, first of all, this is just teams, and we're in the first heat and we're last, you know? So it was like, that was a really, really cool moment. So
that is cool.
You know, back to competing in 2012, that's what I remember. But also, like, you know, meeting the guys like Jason Kalipa and Rich Froning and Graham Holmberg back in the day. Good to see those guys in real life. But yeah, I mean, obviously lots has changed since then.
That's awesome. Yeah, I want to talk about Dave in a little bit, because obviously some recent events have come up with his name. But sort of like before that's all that happened, there's obviously been some changes to the format. But I want to talk about your games prep. Like, I think the games changed quite a bit since then. When you look back to your sort of prime of your CrossFit competing days, what sort of things did you change leading up to it? Did you change your training volume? Did you like scale back? Did you like taper your training? Did you do like extra rest or sleep, or what did that look like leading up to a competition day?
Well, look, I was kind of a fringe games athlete, right? Like, I'd show up to regionals and I was kind of always in the conversation, but always just a little too close, but not really, no cigar for a lot of years. But, you know, 2014, when I try to think back of how I was training and how I felt, it's very blurry. My memory is very blurred. It's like, I was so excited to have qualified that I was just, you know, doing everything.
It all just blends together.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, if I knew, you know, more, if I knew back then what I know now in terms of training and people and, like, you know, being around people and training environments and things like that, although we had a really, really good training environment at NCR, but it would have, you know, I feel like it would have been a bit different. But my leading up to the Open has always been, you know, January would hit and I would just start to ramp up a little bit.
Right.
In terms of just adding a couple sessions a week. And specific,
like cardio sessions.
Exactly. Yeah. Just specific, not necessarily CrossFit workouts, but specific intervals, either running or rowing. And I've always said, if you want to get fit, get on the rower, just row.
True.
And it's funny.
Low impact. You can do it for a full marathon. They proved that.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's just like it's a full body. It's a machine that we use often in competition. And it's just, it's a fantastic tool. And it's funny we were talking about that because, you know, the Open is coming and, you know, I'm a master's now. So I'm thinking, should I make it? Yeah. I'm like, should I make a push this year? Maybe, maybe not. And then this morning I did some true good old rowing intervals. You know, I hadn't done that in a long time. I'm like, and it reminded me of, you know, and I came inside from the garage and I was talking to my wife and I'm like, remember when I used to just row all the time? She's like, hilarious. Yeah, all the time. Yeah. So, a lot of that.
The bike's kind of gotten that reputation as being that punishing like device, but you can punish yourself pretty much just as well in a rower. I just feel like not a lot of people have the mental fortitude to put themselves there. It's crazy.
Yeah. And there's like more technique to rowing, right? So it's like really, really phenomenal rowers they have a very strong technique as well. And the sequence of movement is like, it translates to the other thing that we do as well. It's not just sitting on the bike and
super efficient pulls. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, and obviously like techniques getting more zeroed in, the whole sport's evolving. What are the things that stand out most to you? If you look back to those days in terms of the evolution of the sport, the training regimen, like what do you think is the one variable I think that's been the biggest change? Is it training volume? Is it intensity? Is it like recovery? Where do you think has been the biggest game changer?
I think if you look at the overall field of athletes that are qualifying for the games and you know, going for the top spot, now most of them are doing it full time. Yeah. I would say, right? Like it's close to 90%. There's some that have like odd jobs here. Like Vellner's a chiropractor, right? Yeah. But he's kind of the minority there. Most of them are just doing only that. And it's really cool.
Is he full time? I wonder that. Is he have a full time practice? I feel like that would be
No.
insane.
I don't think he's full time, but he does it. You know, it's his job. He loves it, and it's just, you know, it keeps him in the trade. But no, I don't think he's full time on it.
Right.
But what we're seeing too, and we actually saw this week too in the news with the Monster sponsorship, is a lot of these athletes are making some good money.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's brought the sport to something where where they can make a living out of it. So I think that's a huge difference from a couple of years ago, where, you know, you had Annie and Rich, who were probably making enough money through sponsorships to live off of it. But now it's like the whole field almost, right? That making some money with it. And what you see, Craig, is the competitions through the off season, like Wadapalooza. I mean, $100,000.
That's some pretty good bank that Wellner's making over a couple of days. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's awesome. And it's awesome to see, because that's where the sport's going. And that's, if you want to professionalize the sport, then there needs to be money in it. So I think that's a huge difference in terms of like kind of organization and you know, what's in it for the athletes. But in terms of biggest difference in you know, athletic ability, is I would say that now most of athletes move really well.
Yeah, that's true.
Like all of them move well. There's a few, you know, odd guys in there that still move like shit, and they're just freaks of nature, and they're still at the top. But like, I feel like, you know, Rich was a perfect mover. Yeah. Matt Fraser's a perfect mover.
Well, right? How do you coach? How do you start coaching that movement? It's just like, just more of everything. Yeah,
exactly. So I think that would be kind of a big difference there too.
Yeah. So technique, obviously. Yeah. So the sport itself, obviously the format's gone back and forth a few times. You mentioned the Open starting back in 2011. I feel like that was a big change. When you look back to the format years ago, to the classic regionals, to what it is today, how do you compare the two? What do you think is the idea? If you were handed the keys, what would the format look like from Paul Tremblay?
I'm biased, man. I really enjoyed regionals. It was cool. And I'm actually really happy that it came back to kind of that feel. I think the format right now is really cool. Nice. I like it because it involves a lot more people. And it gives you know, a lot of athletes just an extra little step after the Open to do quarterfinals, which I think is awesome.
I think so too.
And you see it at your gym, you know, like now guys and girls are doing the Open and just hoping for that top 10% to, you know, have that chance of doing one weekend where they have to film their videos and submit them and be on a leaderboard with, you know, Pat Vellner and things like that. So I really, really enjoyed that. And it's funny, I was looking at it this morning again because of the Masters stuff, but you know, there's, because now it's only 10 Masters at the games. So there's a lot of like online stuff. And I don't, you know, I know a lot of guys say that they hate the online stuff and they'd rather in person. Like, of course, everyone would rather in person. For
sure. Yeah.
But
this is all we got right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's what we got right now. And it's a good way to just weed out a lot of people and get to, you know, that top 40 guys and girls.
Yeah, sure enough.
But I think the semifinals is cool. And I like the way that if you're in North America, you can kind of move around. You're not really set to one region like we used to. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I love regionals. Regionals was a fun time.
Yeah, for sure. I like that you still at least have the stuff, you know, Wadapaloozas in Dubai and stuff like that. And the chance for athletes to pull in some extra money and get some volume in and get the fans get to see it to kind of keep them attached throughout the season. So I think that I feel like it kind of fell off the rails there. I feel like they're getting closer to something ideal anyway. So I'm on board.
Did it ever? With the sanctional stuff, that was tough. Because then there was like 30 competitions. Not all were created equal. And it was just like, it was tough to keep track, but now we're getting back to something that's, you know, really solid.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that. So 2018, like everything changed. Like there was, I don't know how many like employees were fired from HQ, but something happened. I don't know if there was an event that happened. Obviously there's some fallback and things have changed and sort of information's come out. What was life like for you back then? How are you impacted by some of those changes?
So in 2018, I'm an athlete. I'm on seminar staff, gym owner. The way it affected me in a few different ways, and kind of like the three pillars of CrossFit, which is the affiliates, the education, and the sport. So I'm kind of in all three of those. So it affected me differently in those spheres, but as an affiliate owner, it didn't change that much. Right. Like what I'm doing inside my gym doesn't change. The relationships I have with my members and my coaches doesn't change.
That community is always going to be there.
Exactly. So like whatever happens at CrossFit doesn't really change, you know, at the leadership level, like what I do at my gym and what I love is CrossFit and exercise. Right. So that doesn't change all that much, but from an athletic standpoint, like I didn't really like the whole qualify right from the open to the games.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
The country winners, I think, is a fantastic idea. Get some worldwide participation. Get people in different countries to root for a hero in a country.
Yeah.
Whether or not that winner should be at the games.
Yeah.
That was
just a bit of a circus. Like
yeah.
Which was
crazy.
And I feel like some of the top people ended up paying because of that, which was unfortunate. But so yeah, you still have the same winners, but I feel like it was kind of the middle of the road people that suffered from some of that stuff. And anyways, yeah. So
I would agree.
Yeah.
No, I would agree with that. It made for the first workout at the games in 2019 was really cool. And it worked out, but there was still it didn't feel like the games, it was so different. Where, we're used to like that top 40 men and women go at it and like,
exactly.
It's the best in the world. They got to the games. It's prestigious,
I think there should still be some kind of acknowledgement for being the fittest in your country, but I don't know if the ticket to the games is the right way to handle that, just because we're not there yet. There's not like enough parity, I don't think, across the world to make that a competitive environment. So,
and we've moved towards that last year too. And I think it's the right call.
Yeah.
And then from a seminar standpoint in 2018, it was lack of communication a little bit. Like we just didn't know what was going on. And like as an employee at CrossFit, I would have, had more insight on what was going on within the company. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the seminar staff, like we're the ones kind of on the front lines with the people at the seminars, like fielding these questions and these concerns and things like that. So maybe being armed with a little bit more ammo for that. Yeah. But I mean, the mission of CrossFit never really changed. Mm-hmm. And that's what we kind of had to remind ourselves of is like, hey, whatever happens at CrossFit home office is what's happening there.
Yeah.
Our job is to make sure people understand the methodology and apply it properly, keep people safe and change some lives. So that never really changed.
Yeah. It's kind of wild that like for me, even being an affiliate owner at the time, like people assume that I knew what was going on. And I was like, the seminar staff doesn't know what's going on. So I literally can't answer anything. So I can only imagine the kind of questions you were getting at that time. It was chaos.
And I think that's what's really interesting about the CrossFit community. It's so big, but everyone thinks it's so small.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you probably got questions about Dave Castro at your affiliates. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. What happened? Like, I don't know. Like, do you think I talked to Eric Rosa?
I told him to keep him. I said that.
But that's the beauty of the CrossFit community, man. It's like, it's so tightly knit. Like we have each individual community and everybody's gyms, but we're so tied together by that one thing worldwide that it's like, it makes us like, we're so involved. And
it is,
man, I'm on the phone with affiliate owners every single day. And it's just like, it's cool to see because it's emotional. Like everyone is emotionally involved in this movement, right? In this methodology and company, which is really special. Like you don't have that anywhere else in fitness.
It's true. Yeah. I love that. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second.
Sure.
Let's talk about 2020, the second big piece that happened, I guess, in the community after the gym shut down, the pandemic hit. A few months later, there's a famous tweet and there's a whole wave of stuff that happened up there. I feel like there was a bunch of events. Even for me, I felt the leadership of CrossFit was a little bit wish-washy at the time. I feel like a lot of people kind of shared that opinion. And then the tweet was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. What was your take on that whole scene there?
My take on all that was I was sympathizing with everyone. I was kind of on the same page as everyone, as every other affiliate owner who kind of saw that and who was not like, I don't think Greg's racist. I don't think Glassman's racist, like we knew him personally and it's just not the way he was. But it was just obviously the timing of everything just made that reaction was the way it was. Mm-hmm. And for us, like as an affiliate owner, that's when it really, that was kind of the first time when there was a decision made at CrossFit home office that kind of affected us, and not in the way we operate our business, but the way our members interact with us, because now there's like a vision of CrossFit. Yeah. And you felt it too, right? Like we had members, basically tell us, we're leaving unless you're changing the name.
Yeah.
And we had those conversations. Do you think do you know me, right? Like, you've been a member here for 6 years. Do you think I'm racist? No. Okay, cool. All right. So we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
We're good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now we can talk about other things. Because it was very interesting to see how, again, involved and emotional our communities can be.
Mm-hmm. True.
And the pressure of like acting and doing something, right? So from our standpoint, we took a stand, and we said, we didn't like what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't agree with it. And, we wanted something to change, and that change happened for us, and it was enough. It was enough for us to jump back on board, and be CrossFit NCR again. Short-lived NCR fitness.
Cool. Yeah. Similar for us. We're in the process of reaffiliating right now. Yeah. Thanks to you. Actually, you helped us get the wheels rolling there. Oh, thanks, man. So what was I going to say? So yeah. And at that time, I think it was also like just horrible timing for something like that. Like there's all kind of racial tension, and with everything that's going on in the US and all that stuff. And I just feel like maybe it was taken out of context, but I feel like something had to give. Just the whole ownership structure. There was one guy basically in charge of 10,000 gyms where he's just so disconnected. There wasn't really a voice. So I feel like those are the type of changes that I've seen kind of that led up to the change for us. Are you seeing sort of what you would call better leadership and more of a community-based decision-making going on?
Maybe. I mean, Greg Glassman invented this, right? Like he's the genius behind all of it. And it grew to something so big that it's incredible to think that it became this, and it is what it is. What's really, really cool to see now is there is an increased communication between affiliates and home office. So, and I don't know if that was there before. It just, I guess the staff, maybe there wasn't enough people, or it grew so fast, and I can't speak of what it was back then, but we never had a country manager in Canada. Yeah. We never had a contact at home office to just talk to.
True.
And that big international push was actually led by Dave Castro in like 2017.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Dave led kind of the international country manager expansion, and put a guy in France, in the UK, and just, was kind of responsible for the growth internationally. Wow. We never had one in Canada because we were kind of always just grouped with the United States, which is fine. But now we have that, which is cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. So I think I've never met Dave. My impression of him is literally all I see in like when there's live competition or like the documentaries. And I feel like he's just a guy that's always kind of thrived in being the villain. And so that's the image that I have, and I feel like he's just like, it's almost like he wants to be seen as this like guy that's like just punishing people or whatever. Maybe that's the Navy SEAL background or whatever, but there is another side to him I've never really personally been exposed to. But obviously he's made some decisions, did a lot for the sport. Talk about that decision, that event, what that meant for you. Would you feel like it was kind of like out of nowhere? Did you see it coming? Was there any inkling that there was something going to happen?
No, like, I love Dave. And when I heard the news, I was sad, and it hit me. Friend of mine, and I've worked with him closely for years. He's the one who hired me on staff. He's, because he used to work for the education department, right? Like a lot of people don't really know that, but he's not just the games. Like he had a huge part to play in, spreading the seminars around the world. And worked, up until a couple of years ago, I was still getting emails from Dave about staffing. And like he was still very hands-on and like looking at seminars, putting specific people on these seminars. So he was very involved in that, but also had the games. I was sad to see him go. He's a big influence to a lot of people on staff, especially. When I was on the demo team with him for years, like every time I wouldn't qualify for the games, Dave would call me and say, you want to come test out some workouts? And like, yeah, sure. And then demo team happened. And I feel lucky, I got to meet a lot of people and get some different opportunities. And it was because of him. So definitely, on a personal level, I didn't like to see it go. I don't know the details at the top. But I'm sure it was a decision that was potentially made for, the greater good of CrossFit long-term.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about that. Based on the direction you've seen, and you've been a little bit more of an insider recently, how do you see CrossFit changing over the next 5 to 10 years? Is it just going to get bigger and bigger? Do we see this going more globally? Is there going to be changes at the affiliate level? Like, what's your vision for how you see the direction going?
Yeah. The only change at the affiliate level that we're going to see is more support, just more. And that's like, I'm seeing a lot of stuff online, like, oh, CrossFit's lost its way. It's not the same. And I can assure a lot of people that, there's still a lot of people within CrossFit who have put some real sweat and tears into the community, and are making sure that the affiliates are at the forefront of everything that we're doing. And that's really our guiding principle there. It's affiliates first. We want to make sure that we're giving them every resource possible to be successful. We want affiliates to do well, right? Sorry, I don't know if you heard that. I got a little beep in my Slack. I'll just pause that. Sorry. Okay. And that's what we've done in the last year and a half, right? The gym operations team put out the playbook. We put out the roundtables project, the programming, the affiliate partner network, which is a huge one that really we heard from the CrossFit community as a big must, leveraging the buying power of CrossFit affiliates and trying to go get better deals for products that affiliates already use or services they already use. So, honestly, I don't see CrossFit changing that much because that's what our goal is. Our goal is to take care of our affiliates, grow that community, obviously get new affiliates. The affiliates or the gyms that are out there that aren't doing, that aren't called CrossFit, but are doing CrossFit. Let's get them on board. Yeah. It looks and smells like a CrossFit gym. It should be a CrossFit gym, right? And that's not fair to an affiliate that is down the street who is a CrossFit
indistinguishable gym. Smell. Once you walk in, you know you're there.
Exactly. Hey, I'm seeing a rogue rig. I'm seeing some plates there. People are dropping weights. We're doing a WOD. It's Fran. Yeah, this is a CrossFit gym. Cool. And our issue is that maybe the communication just hasn't been there. And that's our fault. We gotta show and communicate the value prop for affiliates. And we know that having CrossFit on your website is going to bring people to your gym. Look at any CrossFit gym in the world, check your Google Analytics. Yeah. CrossFit will be up there. But we're actually finding as CrossFit as a company is that even when people search gyms near me, CrossFit is actually ranked higher than functional fitness or, spin or so worldwide. CrossFit is still a very recognizable brand, even with the good, the bad, and the ugly that we hear online. So it's still something that brings value to people. And, the affiliates, I mean, that's our priority. That's what we're doing.
I love that. I feel like everything goes through a bit of a backlash. You hear what every other brand that's happened, everything, whatever, yoga, Zumba, but I feel like it has become a household name. And I agree. It's like, it's a staple methodology now in the fitness world. Yeah. So let's talk about Paul's personal habits. I know your family is continually growing. It's like every new picture on Instagram is like another kid. Was it 4 now?
Yeah. We're at 4. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. So talk about, obviously some of the priorities change when the family starts to grow a little bit. Priority changes things in the pandemic. Talk about what is tops on your list in your health and fitness priorities right now. And what does your habits look like around that? Priorities is working out. Yeah. Like in terms of health and fitness, I always prioritize at least getting a workout in. And to do that, I've just kind of gotten in a routine of doing it early in the morning, just to make sure that it's done. And now, I have a full-time job, so kind of on the computer all day and still have the gym and stuff like that. So just to make sure to get that in. And I now understand the crazies who used to show up or still show up at 6 a.m. at CrossFit NCR every single day, 5 days a week. Because they're in the same boat, it's they're the most consistent people. Like they're there every day. They don't miss. I think it's because there's nothing else going to happen. It's just if it's in your first thing in the morning, it's right there. Love that. Hands down, the biggest constant in everybody's schedule is a 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. class. Yeah. It's just it's always the same people. So true. Yeah.
And it's and people say that's crazy. I think the guys who work out at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., that's crazy. I think
that's bedtime,
insane.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, priority is working out. And not so much as I don't really have a goal per se. Kind of like last year, I'd like to just take it as far as I can. But not at the expense of, I'm not in the game of sacrificing things anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't, the priority is working out, not training.
Right.
If you know, So
sure. Yeah.
So that's kind of where it's at. But yeah, 4 kids. We just had our last baby about 8 months ago. So
that's amazing. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. So it's been we had 2 pandemic babies. So
that's wild. That's like the new norm though. It's just to stay at home and pop out kids, right?
I know, yeah. Well, it's probably because we're at that age, Craig, and all our friends are just like finally settling down and having babies.
Yeah. Sure
but yeah, no, it's been good. It's been awesome.
That's awesome, man. Well, Paul, this has been unbelievable catching up. We really appreciate the time. If you guys are ever in the Ottawa area, definitely check out NCR. What's the best place for people to check you out to learn more from you?
Instagram if you want. So it's Haas Tremblay on Instagram. You can send me an email at paul.tremblay@crossfit.com. Cool. That's the best way to reach me, and CrossFit NCR, Ottawa, Ontario, baby.
Cheers, man. Awesome. Well, appreciate the time, Paul. Good catching up.
Thanks, Craig.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Healthspan Academy, and we'll see you next time.